Hello students, I Mrs. Madhvi Mhatre welcome you all in the next lecture of Mathematics 1. We are studying chapter number 2, that is real numbers, and in this we have completed all the topics given here. Only the last topic which is not mentioned here, absolute value, that is remaining. Okay, so let us discuss that particular topic here now. This topic is completely new to you, so try to understand it. It's very easy. Okay, so what is meaning of absolute value? Absolute value is nothing but the distance. And you know that distance is never negative. That is why absolute value is never negative. Okay, so how to define absolute value? That if we take any real number as x, then that absolute value of x is its distance from 0 on the number line. Okay, so it's a distance. That is why it is never negative. This particular absolute value of x is written in symbols like this, two vertical lines, and in that x is written. Okay, generally it is read as mod of x or modulus of x. Okay, also it can be read as absolute value of x or modulus of x. So in short, you can use the word mod also, mod of x or modulus of x or absolute value of x. Now for this absolute value, we have three possibilities. Like for every number, we have three possibilities. Either it can be positive, it can be negative, or it can be 0. So similarly here also for this absolute value, we have three possibilities. From that, the very first one is if x is greater than 0, that means if x is positive, then modulus of x is equal to x. That means if x is positive, then absolute value of x is x, means plus x. Second thing, if x is 0, then absolute value of x is 0. Okay. And the third possibility, that is x is negative, that means x is less than 0. So if x is less than 0, then the absolute value of x is minus x. Okay. So here when x is negative, then the absolute value is exactly opposite of x. If x is 3, the absolute value here is minus 3. Okay. So it is exactly opposite. Now, as I have said, even though it is given minus here, while writing the answer, we are writing plus only. Okay. Why? Because see, if x is less than 0 means inside this modulus sign, you are going to have negative sign. Okay. So that one negative sign and this negative sign which is given here in the rule. So that negative and this negative gives us plus. That is why here what we can say is absolute value is never negative. Okay. So let's see some examples. See, modulus of 3 is plus 3. Modulus of minus 3 is also plus 3. Why it is plus 3? As we have seen in that third rule here. See, this is minus 3. And while writing absolute value, we have written one more minus sign here. I want opposite of minus 3. Okay. So, opposite of minus 3 is what? Plus 3. So, even though inside the mod sign we have negative, the value is always positive. Keep that in mind. Next one, if we have 0, then modulus of 0 is 0. Okay. So in this way we can understand that the absolute value can be 0 or it can be positive, but it is never negative. Okay. Even though inside you have negative sign, in the final answer you are going to have positive sign itself. Okay. So from this we can make this rule that the absolute value of any real number is always positive or it is never negative. It is either 0 or positive, but it is never negative. Okay, let us see more examples now. So example number 2, here they have given that find the value. So inside the modulus sign we have the operation 9 minus 5. Okay, so inside this we have to apply the Bodmas rule. If we have the bigger expression, and then finally we are going to take out the value out of modulus sign. So here 9 minus 5, answer is what? 4, which we are going to write again in absolute sign only or modulus sign only. But while taking it out here, we are going to write plus 4. Okay. So modulus of 9 minus 5 is equal to modulus of 4, that is plus 4. Then the second one now. See, modulus of 8 minus 13. So inside, let us subtract first. 8 minus 13 is minus 5. Okay. So inside the mod sign, we can write down minus 5. But when we remove this modulus sign, when we write down the final answer, that time our answer is going to be plus. See, because modulus of minus 5 is what? Like here, minus of minus. So here also minus of minus 5 is going to be plus. But we are not writing that step. If you want, you can write here one more step, that modulus of minus 5 is equal to minus of minus 5, that is plus 5. Okay, you can write directly also as it is shown in the textbook. Then the next one. See here, modulus of 8 minus modulus of minus 3. Okay, so here now two different modulus signs are given. So first we have to remove that modulus sign. So value of modulus of 8 is plus 8. This minus as it is. And modulus of minus 3 is plus 3. So 8 minus 3, answer is 5. Okay. So here in textbook direct answer is given. If you want, you can write down one more step here with pencil, that here the value of mod of x is plus 8. This minus sign as it is. And mod of minus 3 is plus 3. So 8 minus 3, answer is 5. Okay. Let's go further. Fourth one here. Modulus of 8 into modulus of 4. Now see, here we cannot directly multiply in modulus sign. First we have to remove these numbers out of the modulus sign. So modulus of 8 is plus 8, then into sign, and then modulus of 4 is plus 4. So 8 into 4, 32 is the answer. Okay. Doing this step is very important. You are removing 8 and 4 out of modulus sign and then you are multiplying. Okay. Take a note of this. Let's go further. Now example number 3 is solve. We have to solve the given equation. So on left hand side we have modulus of x minus 5 is equal to 2 we have on right hand side. Okay. Now see, this 2 is value of modulus of x minus 5. Okay. What we have studied is that the absolute value is always positive. But inside this number, it can be either positive or it can be either negative, as we have seen previously. That absolute value of 3 is also plus 3 and absolute value of minus 3 is also plus 3. So here, since the absolute value of x minus 5 is given as 2, when we think only about the number inside, that means x minus 5. So this x minus 5, it can be either plus 2 or it can be either minus 2. Okay, so when we have such unknown number or variable present is there, then when we remove the modulus sign, that time we have to think of either or, that the number inside it can be either positive or it can be either negative. So here the very first step is that x minus 5 is given as 2, therefore we can write that x minus 5 without modulus sign. Don't write modulus sign here, it is important. When we take out the modulus sign, there are two possibilities. That the number inside, either it can be positive or it can be negative. So what we can write here, that x minus 5 is plus 2 or x minus 5 is minus 2. Okay, just keep this plus 2 and minus 2 here and you will understand it better. That mod of plus 2 is also 2 and mod of minus 2 is also 2. Okay, so that is why for this particular number which is inside or expression inside, we have taken both the possibilities, either plus or either minus. Okay, now let's solve these two equations separately. Now here this minus 5, if we shift to RHS, then 2 plus 5 we will get 7. So here we will get x is equal to 2 plus 5, that is 7. And if we shift this minus 5 again, this side it will become minus 2 plus 5, which is plus 3. Okay. So here in this way we got two different values for x. Either x is 7 or x is 3. Check here. You can check by substituting here. Put here x is equal to 7. So when you put 7 here, 7 minus 5 is plus 2 and absolute value is 2. And if you put 3 here, then 3 minus 5 is minus 2 and the absolute value of minus 2 is also 2. Okay, that is why here both the possibilities are there. So here this particular step is very important, that when you remove the modulus sign, you have to think of both the possibilities, that the number inside, either it can be positive or it can be negative, and then only you are going to solve it. Okay. So in this way the absolute value concept is very easy. Let's go further now. So let's start practice set 2.5, which is based on absolute value. So from this very first question is find the value, and here you have three questions. So the very first is modulus of 15 minus 2. Okay. So write down the question as it is, and then now you have to perform the operation inside the modulus sign. Okay. So answer of this will be what? Modulus of 13. 15 minus 2 is 13. And finally, in the last step, you have to remove the modulus sign. So modulus of 13 or the absolute value of 13 is 13. The answer is going to be positive always. Similarly, you can solve question number 2, modulus of 4 minus 9. So when you do 4 minus 9, you will get minus 5. Mod of minus 5 or modulus of minus 5. And the final answer will be plus 5. So do this as homework. Now I am solving third one. Modulus of 7 into modulus of minus 4. Okay. So here directly we cannot multiply. Take a note of this. First we have to remove these numbers out of the modulus sign. Okay. So modulus of 7 is plus 7 and modulus of minus 4 is minus of minus 4. That is plus 4. Okay. And therefore the answer is going to be 28. 7 4s are 28. As I have said, I have written this step to make you understand that why this value becomes positive. You can write directly also plus 4, as I have said that absolute value is never negative. So if you don't write this step, then also it will do directly. You can write down plus 4 here, and then 7 4s are 28 is the answer. Okay. I hope you must have copied down both the questions, and question number 2 you will solve as homework. Okay. Now let's go towards the second question here in practice set 2.5. Okay, so question number 2 is solved, and here 4 questions are given. Okay, so here also I am not discussing all the questions. 2 I will discuss, 2 you will solve as homework. Okay. So let's see the first one now here. Modulus of 3x minus 5 is equal to 1. Okay. Now the very first step, that we want to remove this modulus sign. So we are going to go for either or. That means 3x minus 5 is equal to plus 1 or 3x minus 5 is equal to minus 1. This is an important step, as I have said. Okay. That you have to think of both the possibilities, that is positive and negative. Afterwards, let's solve these two equations separately. Now this minus 5, if we shift on the right hand side, we will get 1 plus 5. And here if we shift this minus 5, then we will get minus 1 plus 5. Okay, so it's simply change of side. That these minus 1 or like terms we are taking together on right hand side. So 3x is equal to 1 plus 5 or 3x is equal to minus 1 plus 5. And from this we will get 3x is equal to 6 or 3x is equal to 4. See, 1 plus 5 is 6 and minus 1 plus 5 is plus 4. Now we can get the answer. X is 6 divided by 3, that is 2, and here value of x is 4 divided by 3, that is 4 upon 3. Okay, so in this way we are getting the two values here. Let's check whether the answer is true for both the values. So let's put x is equal to 2 here. So 3 into 2 is 6. 6 minus 5 is 1 and absolute value of 1 is 1. Second condition here, we are replacing x by 4 upon 3. When we replace x by 4 upon 3, then 3 in the numerator and denominator will get cancelled and you will be left out with 4 here. So 4 minus 5 is minus 1 and absolute value of minus 1 is 1. That means our both the values are correct. We have cross-checked it. Okay. Sometimes when we are doing certain mistake while change of side or while subtracting, if we don't give the proper sign, then we get wrong answer. So to be more specific or to be more correct, we can just cross check it by substituting the value here. Okay. Now similarly you can solve second one also exactly similar. All the steps are similar. We have seen the solved example also. So now you are very much familiar about how to solve it. So solve the second one as homework. Third and fourth, they are nearly same. Okay. So I am solving now question number 3. Then fourth one you will solve as homework. So mark this question number 2 and 4 you will solve as homework. And first and third you will copy down now in your notebook. So question number 3 is modulus of 8 minus x upon 2 is equal to 5. So very first step is same, that you are going to go for either or. Simply remove the modulus sign and then write down that 8 minus x upon 2 is either plus 5 or it is minus 5. Whatever inside the modulus side, that you write down as left hand side and then you write down equal to the number which is on right hand side. First you write positive and then you write negative. Now let's solve this. This 2 we can take on right hand side, both the places. So here 2 into 5 we will get plus 10 and here 2 into minus 5 we will get minus 10. So our next step is 8 minus x is plus 10 or 8 minus x is minus 10. Now we want to find value of x. So here x is negative. So instead of shifting 8 on RHS, let us shift minus x on RHS. Okay. And 10 we will shift here. So we can write this as 8 minus 10 is equal to x. Similarly here it will be 8 plus 10 is equal to x. Here plus 10 we are shifting, so we are writing minus sign. And here minus 10 we are shifting, so we are writing plus. Okay. So to be more correct, as I have said, sometimes we forget to write down the minus sign while writing the next step. So to avoid that, to avoid mistakes, you shift minus x which is on LHS, that you shift on RHS, both the places. And the number on the RHS you shift on LHS. Okay. So see, his plus 10 is shifted here, so became minus. Similarly, minus x is shifted, so it became plus. Same thing is done here. Minus 10 is shifted on LHS, so became plus, and minus x is shifted on RHS, so became plus. Okay. So now here 8 minus 10 you are going to get minus 2 and here 8 plus 10 is 18. Okay, so we have the values of x as minus 2 or x is equal to 18. Once again You put these values here and then you check whether you are correct or what. So first let us put x is equal to minus 2 here. So when we put x is equal to minus 2, this minus and this minus, it will give us plus. So 8 plus 2 is 10. 10 divided by 2 is 5 and absolute value of 5 is 5. Correct? Second case, we have to put x is equal to 18. So replace x by 18 here. So 8 minus 18 is minus 10. Minus 10 divided by 2 is minus 5 and absolute value of minus 5 is 5. That means we are correct. Okay. So in this way you are going to solve question number 2 and 4 also. They are quite similar. Second one is similar to first one and the fourth one is similar to third one. So solve them as homework. Okay. Now with this we have completed our chapter. All the topics, all the practice sets are completed. Okay. Now we are moving towards problem set. As I have said again and again that you should try to solve the similar sums from the problem set. We have done all practice set and the sums which are similar to them, those sums you should try to solve. Okay. So here in problem set also I am not going to discuss all the questions. I am going to discuss only the questions which are different. Okay. So let's go towards problem set now. Before that, just above the problem set, you have this activity 1 and 2, but it is under the reduced syllabus. So take a note of this. These activity based questions, they will not be asked as the evaluation. So with pencil, you can put a cross there that these particular activities are not there. Okay, they are reduced. Now let's go towards problem set. So problem set 2, from that the very first question is of MCQs. That is multiple choice question. Choose the correct alternative answer for the questions given below. You know that here for every question you are provided with 4 options, 4 answers, and you have to choose the correct alternative or correct answer. In board exam, while writing this, you have to write down the question number and in front of that you have to write down the correct alphabet. That means either A, B, C or D. You don't have to write down the answer. You don't have to write down the question also. Only you have to write down the alphabet of correct alternative. Okay. So let us start. The first one here is, which one of the following is an irrational number? Okay, so here we have to go for trial and error. We have to go for check on each and every number. Square root of 16 upon 25. So here 16 is a perfect square of 4 and 25 is a perfect square of 5. So for this we can write down the answer as 4 upon 5, which is a rational number. Okay, so it's not the answer. Let's go further. Square root of 5, correct? Square root of 5 is given now here. So we know that 5 is not a perfect square. That is why here this number is an irrational number. So this is our correct answer. If you want, you can check now further. See, what you have next is this 3 upon 9. It's a rational number. And similarly check for D. Square root of 196. 196 again is a perfect square. It's a square of 14. So square root of 196 we can write as 14. So here A, C and D, they all are rational numbers. So the correct option is, the correct alternative is option B. Okay, so tick mark it. Let's go further. Question number 2 now. Which of the following is an irrational number? Again the same question is asked, but now here the radical sign is not given. Instead, the numbers are given in decimal format, and we have to check that which one is an irrational number. So for checking this, what criteria we use is if the number is terminating one or if it is recurring one, then the number is rational. And if it is non-terminating, non-recurring, then it is an irrational number. So you can observe here, see this one is terminating one, this one is recurring, this one also is recurring, but here you can see dot dot dot. That means what? This particular number is non-terminating, non-recurring. That is why this number is an irrational number. Okay, so it's very easy to recognize. So either they can be given in the form of surds or they can be given in the form of decimal fractions. You have to use the proper property here and you have to check for it. Okay, so in this way you can solve MCQs. Now let's go further towards the third one. Decimal expansion of which of the following is non-terminating recurring? Okay, so in practice set 2.1 we have solved such sums, and that time what we discussed is simply by observing the denominators we can understand that the decimal expansion is non-terminating recurring. Okay, so what I told that time, that in the denominator you should have the factors either 2 or 5. No other number should appear as a factor other than 2 or 5. Then the decimal expansion is terminating one. Okay. But if any other number appears, then the expansion is non-terminating. So see here you have 5. If you factorize 16, you will write 2 into 2 into 2 4 times. So 2 is the only factor here. For 25 also we have 5 as only factor. But here we have number 11. So 11 is a prime number. It is other than 2 and 5. That is why here the correct answer is 3 upon 11. And here we are going to get non-terminating recurring decimal expansion. Okay, so tick mark it. Now let's go further towards the next question. Question number 4. Every point on the number line represent which of the following numbers? So we have studied number line. So on number line we can represent natural numbers also. We can represent rational number also, means fractions also. This you have studied in 8th standard. We can represent irrational numbers also. We have seen the construction. How to represent root 2, root 5, root 10. Okay. And all these three numbers together, they are called as what? Real numbers. Okay. So simply natural numbers or rational numbers we will not write. We can represent each and every real number on number line. Okay. So our correct answer is what? Real numbers. Taking only natural numbers will not help. Natural numbers are also real, irrational are also real, rational are also real. So the correct answer here is what? Real numbers. Next one. The number 0.4 in P upon Q form is. This also we have seen in 2.1. How to represent in 2 upon 4 form. So that time what I told you, that if you have only one digit, you are going to multiply by 10. Means you are going to shift by only one place. Okay, so in the numerator, you will have only one digit. See, simply when one number is there, no, that time, if you have 0 point and one digit further, okay, then that number upon 9 is your recurring form for one decimal. For 2 digits, it will be those number upon 99. If 3, then that number upon 999. Okay, but you should have 0 point something here. You should not have any other number. So if you have 0 point something, then you can very easily find out P upon Q form. Okay, so simply I have 4 here and only one digit, so 4 upon 9. If I am having 42 here, then it will be 42 upon 99. So 2 digits, then 99. 3 digits, then 999. Okay, so here very easily we can say that the P upon Q form is 4 upon 9. Let's go further towards the next question. What is square root of n if n is not a perfect square number? So if n is not a perfect square, then the square root of n is going to become an irrational number. If it's a perfect square, then it is going to become either natural number or it can be rational number. But if it is not a perfect square, then it is going to be an irrational number. Like if you have 5 here or if you have 7 here, then it is going to be a irrational number. But if you have a perfect square like 16, then it is going to be a natural number or it is going to be a rational number. But they have said not a perfect square. So in that case, the answer is what? Irrational number. Okay. Now let's go further towards the next question. Which of the following is not a surd? So for judging the surd, we have 3 conditions. The very first condition is what? You have to observe the order. Okay, the order should be greater than 1. That means it should be 2 or more. So here the order you can see 2. Here also order is 3. Here order is 3. And here also order is 2. Means order, the first condition is valid for all these 3 numbers. Then second condition, the number inside should be positive rational number. So here also plus 7, plus 17, plus 64 and 193. That means all are positive rational numbers. Now the third condition, that the number overall, it should be an irrational number. Okay. So see here, 7 is not a perfect square, so it's an irrational number. 17 is not a perfect cube. See, I am talking about cube because order is 3. 17 is not a perfect cube, so again it's an irrational number. Or it's a surd. See here, 64. Cube root of 64. 64 is a perfect cube of 4. And cube root of 64 we can write as 4, which is not a surd. Correct? So this is my correct answer. Again, see, this 193 is not a perfect square. So this is an irrational number or this is a surd. So option A, B and D, they are surds. Option C is not a surd. So tick mark this option. Okay. Now let's go further towards the 8th question. What is the order of the surd? Now see, you have studied indices in lower standards. So when you have a raised to m raised to n, that time the order is mn. That means you are multiplying the orders. Similarly, here also you are going to multiply the orders. Here the order is 3 and here the order is 2. So you have to go for multiplication. 3 into 2, that is 6. So your answer is what? 6. You have to multiply. Okay. Now let's go further. Next one, question number 9. Which one is the conjugate pair of 2 root 5 minus root 3? So when we have studied conjugate pair, we have learned that conjugate pair, they only differ by the middle sign. Okay, that means the sign of only one number is going to change and the terms are going to be same. Okay, so here see how you will see this, that terms should be same. So here in option number A and B, the terms are same. In option D also the term is same. But see, option D is same as question, so option D is not possible. Then in option C, the numbers only are exchanged. See here. Here you have 2 root 5, but here 2 root 3 is given, which is not possible. So option number C and D already they are discarded, not possible. Now here you have to think of A and B. Now what you will observe is in option B, sign of both the terms are changed, which is not allowed. We can change sign of only one term. Either the first term can be negative or the second term can be negative. Both cannot be negative. So again option B is not possible, and therefore the correct one is option A. Okay. This way you are going to find the answer. Now let's go towards the last MCQ here. Then we will stop. The value of modulus of 12 minus inside the bracket 13 plus 7 into 4 is. So it depends on the absolute value, and as I have said, we are going to use Bodmer's rule. Means first we are going to open the brackets, then division, multiplication, addition and subtraction. This is the Bodmer's rule. So first you have to think of bracket 13 plus 7. The answer is what? 20. Correct? Then this 20 into 4. 24 is 80. Okay, bracket open, then multiplication. So 20 into 4 is 80. And 12 minus 80. 12 minus 80 is minus 68. But we have absolute value here, and absolute value is never negative. So the correct answer here is plus 68. Okay, so this way you are going to solve it. At first you have to go for bracket, then you are going to go for multiplication, and finally you are going to go for addition or subtraction. Okay, so in this way you are going to solve it. I hope all of you have marked all the answers. So students, today I am stopping here. The remaining questions from problem set we will discuss in next lecture. So till that, you stay home, stay safe, take care of yourself. Thank you students.